is Chef Swole, and we are on a mission to defeat Elden Ring from start to finish using all 411 unique weapons that the game has to offer. Today's weapon is the Great Envy Horn, and it was recommended by Blades of Steel over on YouTube. So if you have a weapon that you want to see, put it down below in the YouTube comments, and when we get to that weapon, we'll shout you out in the intro. Now, throughout the course of this video, we will be going over a breakdown of how to best optimize this weapon as you become the Elden Lord and the lands between. We're going to start with what is the optimal starts and class when utilizing this weapon. What stats should you upgrade and in what order? Are there any soft caps that you want to hit damage-wise? Are there any hard caps with leveling your stats that you want to avoid? From there, we're going to transition into a full breakdown of the build where we'll be going over any types of weapons, talismans, etc. that are going to help you get the most out of this weapon as you traverse in routes to become the Elden Lord. From there, I'm going to have a full breakdown for all 14 required bosses, where I'll be giving you tips and tricks to defeat each and every one of them. And finally, we'll be tiering this weapon from S tier all the way down to the lowest tier, the Broken Straight Sword tier, on how it performs in routes to becoming Elden Lord. So, without further ado, let's get into the starting class. The optimal starting class when doing a playthrough with the Great Envy Horn is going to be the hero class. That being said, this weapon has a lot of requirements, so it's highly advised if you are running a full playthrough of this weapon that you are on New Game Plus or ahead, because using it at the start is going to be next to impossible due to the requirements. Now, the Great Envy Horn does require a whopping 28 strength, 24 faith, and 12 dexterity to use. So the optimal class is the hero, because that's going to bring us in the closest with a massive 16 strength. Now, the good news about the Great Envy Horn is you don't need the full 28 strength to use it if you're two-handing it, which we are in the build and the breakdown of this weapon. So in order to use it while two-handed, you just need to get your strength from 16 to 20, so 4 levels there. From there, you're going to focus on getting your faith from 8 all the way up to 24, so we're going to need 16 levels. So 16 plus 4, so far we are at 20 levels that we are going to be needing to use this weapon. And lastly, dexterity, we need to increase from 9 all the way to 12, so an additional 3 points there. So before you can even use this weapon with the most optimal class, you're going to need to level up 23 times. So either use the Greathorn Dragon Farm at the start of the game in Khaled to get you close to that level, but I highly recommend you start it from New Game Plus. After you have the required stats to use the weapon that we just went over, you want to shift the focus to your vigor, going from 14 to a minimum of 30. I'll recommend exactly 30, giving you a nice balance of health pools for those early game enemies. Once those are up, we need to focus on pumping out our faith, because it doesn't matter how much physical damage you're doing. This build that we're about to show you is going to be built around mostly using the Ash of War, the bubbles, and that means the Holy. So for faith, which we're going to flip over to next, we're going to be pumping in points from 24 all the way to 60. 60 is the first soft cap for doing damage with our faith, which is the primary damage driver of this weapon. Once that's at 60, we're going to flip back over to not our health, but actually our endurance, because in order to use this colossal weapon with the build, we're going to want to make sure that we get adequate endurance. You're going to be okay with no armor with just 12, and I would recommend maximizing the damage before focusing on the endurance. But once that damage is maximized and you want to add armor, we're going to start focusing on the endurance, getting it from 12, and you're going to need a total of 25 to use the armor set that we are recommending in the next section, the build section. If you don't want to use any armor, you can keep it as is at 12. From there, we will increase the vigor from 30 all the way up to 50 for that late game survivability. And then any additional damage will just pump into faith from 60 to its last hard cap of 80, maximizing fully those bubbles damage. If you are a New Game Plus, etc., any remaining points you can put into strength to get a bit more damage if your first initial jump attack. Now that we've gone over the optimal starting class, what stats to upgrade and in what order, let's take a full in-depth breakdown of the build. Now that we've gone over the starting class and we know what stats to upgrade and in what order, let's break down the build itself. Now, the Envy's Greathorn is a very interesting weapon with a unique Ash of War called the Great Ocular Bubble, meaning that throughout this video, we're going to be beating up these bosses by blowing fucking bubbles at them. Amazing. So the first thing that you want to do when building a full breakdown for this weapon is getting the Envy crown, because this crown is going to give you a 15% damage buff whenever you're blowing these bubbles. These bubbles, they do pure holy damage, and when you look at the weapon and the scaling, you see that it does have a D faith, and you see that holy damage, 191 plus 98. This is going to be the damage for your weapons. The physical damage will be when you actually swing it. Say, for the holy damage, that's for the Ash of War, the bubbles. The physical damage is when you clobber the enemies, and both will be important. The next item that we're going to have is the Greybird's Black Quill Armor. You can use the regular Raptor's Black Feathers, but you want jump armor on here, because parts of the strategy of this build, since this is a colossal weapon, is going to be using jump attacks to stagger enemies, and while they're staggered, blowing bubbles, making sure you hit them optimally for as much damage as possible. The two talismans that are going to help you further boost your jump damage will be the two-handed sword talisman and the jump talisman, the claw talisman. Both of these are all going to work together, 10% for the armor, 15% for the claw, and an additional 15% for the two-handed talisman to give you a whopping 40% damage boost on all of our jumping attacks. That's going to be bumped up another 4% with the Rakisha's Gauntlets and the Rakisha's Screams. So each of our jump attacks are going to be getting a 44% boost. Now, once they are staggered, we are going to be blowing bubbles at them with their Ash of War, and the Ash of War does only holy damage. Because of that, our third talisman is going to be the Sacred Scorpion Charm, which is going to increase your holy damage, and it will stack with what we have in our flask, the Holy Shrouded Cracked Tier. The Holy Shrouded Cracked Tier will stack with this, and will stack with the Envy Greathorn to boost your bubbles to an astronomical amount of damage, as we will see shortly. The last talisman is optional, but I do recommend the Dragon Crest Great Shield, as it's going to greatly negate physical damage when utilizing this strategy. So now that we know it on paper, let's take a look at it in action. So how it'll look when you start to fight, you'll go ahead, you'll pop your flask, you'll go to an enemy, and we'll use Vary here as an example. You wail on him with a jump attack, and then we'll just play bubbles.
Perhaps a more physical is in order.
And there you have it. As you can see, once the bubbles hits, we're going to be doing boatloads of damage. And you see the core components of the strategy of this build, and why when we're actually fighting the bosses, we're going to be focusing on staggering them throughout. You saw he was able to get several attacks because he's an NPC dodging the bubbles, and that is why half of the build is set up around these jump attacks to stagger the bosses. Now that we've had a look at what it does in action, let's break down how it does against the bosses themselves now. The number one thing that most players struggle with when using the Great Envy Horn against these bosses is that they tend to focus only on using the Ash of War and not mixing in attacks with the hammer itself. So here's what I mean. Right there is the Ash of War, and you see big damage. This is great. What most players will do is continue to spam this, and you'll see right here, as our character is spamming it, he is getting heavily punished each and every single time. So what you want to do is find a nice mix of both the ability to perform these heavy jump attacks to build up a stagger, as well as mixing in these Ash of War bubble attacks. So right here, you'll be able to see that if you're not doing that, the boss will be able to get a chance to counter you. And what you want to do is, instead of getting right next to him, back up a little bit and let the bubbles do the work for you, as opposed to simply trying to tank all of his hits. Eventually, we get the right idea, take down the boss, and head up to Stormveil Castle for the next boss, Godrick. The overall difficulty when using the Great Envy Horn against Margit ends up being a 2 on 10. Let's continue up to Stormveil Castle. The three major tips you need to keep in mind when fighting Godrick the Grafted utilizing the Envy Greathorn is tip number 1. As the boss approaches you, he's going to come from across the map, giving you time to finish up your buffs if you don't get him in the window. Tip number 2, as he's approaching you, you want to dodge forward and get in his blind spot. You see right here, we are able to get directly behind the boss, meaning that we can get off a massive chunk of damage before he even gets a chance to move. Tip number 3, As you continue the fight, you'll notice that Godrick the Grafted will start turning around trying to get in your own blind spots. When he does that, it is a perfect opportunity to roll away and utilize your Ash of War. If you follow these 3 tips, you will get into second phase as you see here. Now, during the second phase transition, you're going to notice right off the bat, this boss is coming down with a flamethrower coming out of the dragon's maw. And that is going to give you time to get not only 1, but 2 pops off with your Ash of War. Take a look at his health. This next part's important. If you do risk a jump attack, you always have to look out for that dragon's maw. You see right here, we're heavily punished for it. And that is one of the major flaws that the MB's Greathorn has. In order to attack this boss, you have to get very close to him, meaning you always need to keep one eye out of the dragon's maw. This is a good example to keep your spacing, get behind the boss, you see we're again in his blind spots, and finish him off. As long as you're utilizing those 3 tips, the overall difficulty with the MB's Greathorn against Godrick will come out at a 3 out of 10. The Red Wolf of Radagon is the first boss that has amazing lateral movement. Because of that, your Ashes of War are going to be very difficult to land as you attack him with the MB Greathorn. You see right from the rip, we missed not 1, but 2 of the bubble attacks before finally getting him with 1 of the attacks. This is going to set up your new guaranteed windows when facing this boss with this weapon. So what you're going to do is you're going to get right next to the boss as he does a sword slam, pop off the bubbles, and you see you're able to get a clean shot right there. Both of the clean shots and both of the hits on the boss were done after his leaping sword slam. As long as you utilize that window, you're going to be able to pop the Red Wolf right in the face with the holy bubbles, and utilizing that window is going to trivialize this fight for you, making the overall difficulty with the Envy Greathorn just a 2 out of 10. Now, when taking down the Moon Queen, phase 1 is going to be all about finding which minions have light bulbs and knocking them out. You see minion number 1 goes down, find the next one with the light bulb. Here's minion number 2, take it out. And the last one with the light bulb is going to fall down. And now it is all about, can we take this enemy down in 1 cycle? If we're unable to take it out in 1 cycle, she will get a chance to go back in her cocoon, immobilizing the damage. Thankfully, 2 Ashes of War and 1 heavy jump attack will knock out the Moon Queen, giving us ample time in second phase to get behind her Hyper Beam attack and utilize these bubbles. Watch the chunk and, more importantly, the knockdown, which happens against this boss. The only way that she got out of the knockdown the second time was because we happened to roll the RNG for the moon to come out. It was too little too late, but not for us. The Moon Queen will now do a summon, which you can go ahead and ignore. Chase her down as she goes across the map. Get 1 more jump attack on her. As she retreats, try to get off an Ash of War. And eventually, when you're able to get it off, you will take her out, finishing off the fight before it gets a chance to get going. Utilizing these tips and tricks, the difficulty rating of Rennala, the Moon Queen, is only going to be a 3 on 10. Let's continue up to the Atlas Plateau and the Dramatic Tree Sentinel. This is what you are doing wrong when attempting to use the NB Greathorn against the Dramatic Tree Sentinel. Number 1, you're not doing a combination of your heavy jump attacks with your Ash of War. You see right when the fight started, we were able to dismount the horse and do a heavy jump attack leading into the Ash of War, causing a massive chunk of damage. Doing this combination will do quick work of a boss because the animation for the heavy jump attack will be slightly shortened when spamming the Ash of War. Number 2 is you want to be in a position where you can actually trade this boss. What I mean for that is when the boss gets away from you and blows a fireball, if you time it correctly, like we just did, you are able to take the fireball head on and also pop your Ash of War. So right here, he's in front of us. He pops his fireball. We pop the Ash of War. We take the fireball. He takes the bubble, but the bubble does far more damage. If you follow these 2 tips with the Dramatic Tree Sentinel, using the MB Greathorn will only be about a 2 on 10 difficult. Let's continue the run up to the Ghost of Godfrey. Now, when you're fighting the Ghost of Godfrey or the real variant, you are not going to have time to pop your Ash of War. Far too many times, players make the mistakes of trying to force a build instead of fight a boss. What I mean by that is just because this build is set up for using the Holy Bubbles and the damage does not mean that in every single situation you need to utilize this. Every single project doesn't need a hammer, different tools for different jobs, and the tool that you want to use on the Ghost of Godfrey and his real life variant are going to be these quick attacks. Because we have a colossal weapon, the roll attack is a very short animation, allowing us to recover and do a big chunk of damage, as you see here. This is going to keep us in the fight and keep building up his stagger, allowing us to dodge to his axe attacks and keep a consistent source of damage. You see here, utilizing that strategy, we are able to stagger the Ghost of Godfrey, get a massive critical hit on him, and as he stands up, it is a good time to pop that Ash of War and finish him off. Utilizing these tips and tricks, the Ghost of Godfrey isn't going to be so spooky. The overall difficulty rating of this fight is just going to be a 4 on 10. Let's continue to the top of the capital and the king himself, Morgott. You are failing against Morgott when using the Envy's Greathorn because you are not following this very important tip. This boss is all about trading damage when using the Envy's Greathorn. What I mean by that is he is either going to launch projectiles like his spear, like his daggers, or go all the way across the map with a spear strike on you like you see there. You need to get in a position in this fight where you are okay with trading damage. Here's what I mean. We blow the bubble, we hit him, but we take damage from the spear. Notice his damage is far less than the damage we're taking. Once you get him into the point where he does a Swords of Revealing Light, you get a free window to get a massive holy attack off, and that is going to prompt him to go into his phase 2 transition. This is going to let you get off not one, but 2 different Ash of War attacks, as you see here, before he gets a chance to get going. This means he is going to be only 2 hits away, and we just need to find a couple guaranteed windows to get those off. We'll try for one right here as he circulates across the map, hitting him barely on, and as he goes for a vertical slash, we're able to dodge it and go to the right of his holy spear. We're always looking for that last angle to be able to hit this off nicely, and we go off here. We see his jump to the right, and we see him getting hit head on. We're able to trade damage with him as he absorbs a holy bubble. He swings the holy hammer, and when he does his spear charge, we can roll to the right. We can get creating distance. We can blow our horn. And even though he jumps to the right, launching daggers at us, we are able to finish off the Omelet King. Utilizing this tip, it will not be a difficult boss for you at all. The Envy's Greathorn will carry you. The overall difficulty is going to be a 5 on 10. You need to find these 3 tips if you want to take the Fire Giant down using just the Envy's Greathorn. Tip number 1 is going to be to focus on using your heavy attacks and your heavy jump attacks. I know that this build is set up to primarily use the Ash of War, but if you don't follow tip number 1, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. Here's the reason why. The Fire Giant, although he's a large enemy, he does lots of rolls, and his very slow movements are quite chunky. Because they are chunky, the bubble has a hard time finding his target. So what you want to do is first focus on these heavy attacks, these heavy jump attacks, to break his stance. Once his stance is broken, we're able to pop him with bubbles because he is going to be completely immobile, really showcasing off the beauty of this build. So right here, we're able to get off 2 fully charged heavies. We do prompt the stagger, letting us get a free bubble right to his chrome. And we do try for the second, and he barely gets away, almost into the fight right at second phase if he had rolled a little bit more narrow. No worries, though, because tip number 2 is going to be create distance in phase 2. After that initial hand putting down in phase 2, you're going to want to get away from the Fire Giant, get on your horse, create distance from his AoE attacks until he starts doing melee attacks towards you. Once you start seeing those melee attacks, that is your key to close the distance, hop off the horse, and go for your heavy jump attacks or your heavy attacks. Utilizing these 2 tips will keep you in the ring for phase 2, leading us to our third and final tip of stay on target. Now, the fire giant is going to be rolling around the map. So when you're not doing his AoE attacks where you're creating distance, you want to immediately close it, get on his BUTT, and continue hacking away at him to hopefully proc a stagger. Right here, you see that it's close. We've had several hits. And when he does his body slam, we're going to be able to get off not only a heavy jump attack, but a follow-up fully charged heavy as well. We know he's very close to a stagger, so we go for a heavy jump attack. We barely miss it. We do get another one off, but we get punished with the fire. No worries. This is going to give us a chance to back off, heal, dodge his melee attack, and go in for the kill. One more heavy jump attack as he rolls out will leave him very close. He's going to be about just close to one single Ash of War to finish him. Another heavy jump attack as he does his slam, leading us to do a fully charged heavy attack, staggering the fire giant and allowing us to finish him off with a bubble attack. If you follow those 3 tips, the fire giant is going to be a piece of cake, and the overall difficulty when using the MB Greathorn only comes out to a 4 on 10. The main thing you are doing wrong when fighting a fire giant with the MB Greathorn is focusing on only doing your Ash of War. You see right at the start of the fight, we try to utilize an Ash of War and immediately are hit by a fireball. If you don't get some cover before utilizing your Ash of War, you are going to be in a world of hurt, as you saw right here. Now, when we have the cover of the pillar to our right, we are shielded currently from the skinny Godskin Duo's fireball attacks. Whenever you do this, you are able to stay on the large one, and you see we're able to hit not 1, not 2, but a total of 3 heavy jump attacks, letting us get a quick Ash of War off when he gets staggered and finish him off with a light attack. So instead of just spamming your Ash of War, utilize that very important tip of finding cover behind the pillar and making sure you're not just becoming spam for fireballs. Now, another tip that will help out with this fight is utilizing when and where to use your heavy jump attacks versus your Ash of War. So you see right here in the round Godskin Duo, we were able to get a couple of heavy jump attacks off, leading us to stance break him. Now we're able to do the same thing on the skinny Godskin Duo here. We do a jump attack, we do a heavy attack, and a jump attack, break his stance just in time for the ram to spawn. So anytime you have one in a one-on-one window, utilize the MB Greathorn's weapon class, the Colossal weapon class, to break their stance and get a free critical hit, and followed up with a free Ash of War to take them out. You see here, we're able to do a very similar strategy to the round Godskin Duo. We're going to be able to blow our bubble as he starts second phase, gets a heck out to that, and even though the bubble barely connects, we are able to get behind. We'll still have time to get behind the pillar, blowing a bubble as the round Godskin Duo tries to get us from the pillar, meaning we have a true one-on-one left with the Godskin Apostate. Now, this is going to be a bonus tip, and that bonus tip is going to be whenever you are towards the end of the Godskin Duo fight, you don't need to really push it. You can get these guaranteed windows to do your Ash of War, like we've been doing here, or you can simply wait until the bell comes out and finish him off. Either one of those strategies will let you finish off the last Godskin Duo fight, making them a piece of cake. Utilizing this method, the overall difficulty rating of fighting the Godskin Duo with the MB's Greathorn is simply a 4 on 10. If you are having a hard time connecting with the very fast-moving mobile boss Malkeith with the MB's Greathorn, I've got a very good tip for you. Now, in this phase, when he is the Beastman's Clergyman, we are going to utilize a dodge roll attack with our jump ability. This is going to ensure that instead of focusing on this very long Ash of War without being able to get some distance, we'll be able to slowly chip away at this boss, utilizing a window of opportunity for the Ash of War, such as when Malkeith hits the ground. When Malkeith hits the ground, tossing up the tiles, you are able to retreat to a safe distance, pop your Ash of War, and then get right back in the fight. From there, you're able to utilize quick melee attacks after his combos. As you see here, just one quick attack, dodge to the rocks, see which attack he is going. When we see this, you can roll through it, quick attack here, and then because the weapon is a colossal weapon, you're able to get a massive stance break, shoots off the Ash of War. You will get a bit tricky on the hitbox with this character, and if that does happen, try to, instead of using the Ash of War, switching over to a more melee-based approach. When second phase starts, you're going to be able to bait out a guaranteed heavy jump attack, get him staggered right from the start. When he's staggered, this is going to let you get a free Ash of War hit off, and you see the damage was quite low. Because of that, what I recommend for the Malkeith fight is to focus less on the Ash of War because his holy resistance is extremely high. The bubbles do exclusively holy damage, and because his armor has such holy resistance, we are better off on using the fact that this is a colossal weapon to break his stance and stagger him as such. So you see here, as he comes down, we dodge to the red. We're able to get off an attack here. And even if he gets beside us, we are able to follow it up with a heavy jump attack, anticipating his destined death, get out of it, and trade him, heal back up to full, and utilize the next course of attack. We'll be able to dodge to his horizontal attack with a free hit on the heavy jump attack. When he does his roar, he's going to follow that up with a melee, letting us get in close to him, staggering him yet again, utilizing the critical strike. And as he is getting up, you will have ample time to shoot off your Ash of War, destroy Malkeith with one final bubble, and continue to the Ashen Capital. When utilizing this method, the overall difficulty for Malkeith using the Envoy Greathorn clocks in at just a 2 out of 10. If you are not careful when fighting Gideon for the first time, you are going to be in a loop of constant failure. Here's what I mean. As you enter the arena, you'll notice instead of getting spammed with magic attacks, Gideon takes a few moments to chat with you, letting us get not one, not two, but 3 heavy jump attacks off on him. You'll notice we are not even pretending that we are trying to utilize our Envy Greathorn's Ash of War. Reason for that is this boss is so fast with his magic that anytime we even press L2 to start getting the Envy's Greathorn Ash of War working, we'll be hit out of it immediately. Stay on top of this boss, hit him with these heavy jump attacks, hit him with the follow-up quick attacks, do not let him get his spares off, and if you are able to finish him off on your first try, as we were here, you will be rewarded by not having to enter the arena with him immediately attacking you. If you stay on target, stay aggressive, and stay on Gideon's ass, it's going to be an easy fight. The overall difficulty with the Envy Greathorn only comes out to a 2 out of 10. If you are struggling with Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, here is what you need to change. This boss looks intimidating due to his height and the massive reach of his axe. Many players try to utilize only jump attacks or only heavy attacks. What instead you need to do is focus on the quick game. Even with a slow colossal weapon, if you do a roll dodge followed by a light attack, you will do the animation you're seeing on your screen where your character will take the colossal weapon and dive it into the ground in a very fast recovery. Utilizing this method, you're able to damage this boss, roll, and re-damage him again. Now, you will have to be very careful when he goes into his longer combos that we're not just constantly reaching out and doing damage because you will be punished. So when he hits his axe into the ground, unless he's about to be staggered like he was right there, you want to go ahead and beat a hasty retreat and then attack him after. If he is about to be staggered like he was right there, hit him with one more attack, do the critical strike, follow it up with a jump attack, and you will get the animation where he will be taking a knee and hanging out, allowing you to easily pop your Ash of War, start phase 2. When phase 2 does start, we are not going to be doing our Ash of War due to this boss's very deadly grab attacks. Instead, we're going to be focusing on trying to break his stance with heavy jump attacks. As you saw, we got one off. If you do get to a situation where you get enough distance from him, you are able to pop the Ash of War. However, keep in mind, as you saw right there, if you miss and if you are in his grabbing distance, you will be animation locked and you will not have a good time, as you saw right there. We are able to get a quick attack off, putting him into range to start his guaranteed combo attack. We'll roll through 1, roll through 2, and we will do a fully charged heavy, trying to get his stance break down, followed up with another heavy. As he does hit the roar, we're going to have to beat another hasty retreat here. But since he is so close to a stagger, we're able to stay on target, absorb the earthfall, hit him with another jump attack. And because we were slightly greedy, you'll notice right here we got grabbed. Now, if you get in this situation, it is very important not to panic. Create distance from the boss during his slam attacks and utilize your Ash of War one more time. We have the range to take him out. Bubble out. As the boss approaches you, the bubble hits him out of the air. The first Elden Lord goes down, and we are now ready to take on Radagon and his pet, the Elden Beast. The big mistake you are making when fighting Radagon is not taking advantage of his guaranteed moves. When this boss gets to about 1/4 of his health gone, he will guarantee go into an animation where he stomps the ground and rises into the air, slamming his hammer down. Because this boss starts the fight completely still, you could almost get him into that range before the fight even gets going. You see here, he's about 15% of his health gone. After we dodge a couple of attacks, we're able to get a couple more hits off on him, getting him very close to that range. When he does his grab attack, that is a good window to dodge to it. Hit him with a fully charged heavy, and you see the stance break immediately. Because of how his programming is, we know when he stands up, he will be doing his stomp attack. He rises his leg up. We jump up, do a jump attack on him as he gets in the air. And as he lands, we're able to hit a second fully charged heavy, stagger locking this boss in an animation of defeat. When that first leg goes up, we put off a third fully charged heavy attack. And now as Radagon slams his hammer 1, 2, 3 times, on the third one, we can get another hit off. He comes true with his hammer, and we finish off the Elden Lord Radagon before he gets a chance to do any damage. By taking advantage of this boss's windows and his guaranteed movement, you can trivialize the fight, creating a true 1-on-10 difficulty. Now, let's head on to the Elden Beast. We know the Elden Beast always starts his fights by breathing fire. The Elden Beast is another boss that you can, just like Radagon, rely on his guaranteed movements at certain points of the fight. So when he starts with his fire, take your Envy Greathorn, get behind the Elden Beast, start doing jump attacks. We can get off 4 here, and you see that 5th one, we are able to get off a massive hit on him. We did try for the Ash of War, but notice, almost no health went down. That is because the Elden Beast is incredibly resistant to holy damage. Don't worry about using the Ash of War anymore during this fight. Now, another one of the Elden Beast guaranteed windows is going to be when more than 1/3 of his health goes down, he will go straight up into the air and start doing a ring around the rosy. When he does that, do a 180 yourself, run straight forward, and the Elden Beast will appear in front of you, letting you continue to wail on him with your heavy jump attacks. We're able to get off 1, 2, and as he winds up his Elden Stars, we barely missed that 4th one, which could have immediately staggered him, but it'll be too little too late for this boss. We'll hop on the Elden Stars, take a couple hits but dodge his melee, get off of the horse, heal up, and make sure we're in a good position to dodge the explosive cosmic attack that the Elden Beast launches. As long as you're able to get to full, as we are here, the fight is going to be in the bag. Go ahead and dodge through his holy onslaughts, the 1, 2, delayed 3, delayed 4, hit him with a jump attack, hit him with a follow-up jump attack, and then if you can get good RNG, such as we got here with his holy slams, we can dodge through it, let him do a turnaround, dodge through that, and then hit him with a 4th jump attack. We know he's close to the stagger, so we stay on him with a 5. And as he tries to get away, the 6 heavy jump attack will stagger him. Take advantage of the fact that your Envy Greathorn is a colossal weapon. You see here, he does not get away from us as we punish him with 2 more hits before the critical strike. We're able to get a jump attack off on him on the boss's way out. Hit him with a light attack. He is just at 1 HP. Could we possibly get a Ash of War victory here? We'll put the bubble up, but unfortunately he gets into the sky before it gets a chance to track him. No worries though, we can get you rings number 1, rings number 2, rings number 3. We have our Envy Greathorn ready to rock, ready to ray. We're not ready and we're not willing to accept defeat yet with his explosives. We're going to stay on top of him. We're going to chase him down as he does his explosive attack, finish him off with the Ash of War. Utilizing this method by relying on the Elden Beast guaranteed windows, you're able to stance break him multiple times, making the fight much easier, and the difficulty just a 1 out of 10. Average difficulty rating on a scale of 1 to 10 when using the Envoy's Greathorn against all 14 mandatory bosses ended up coming in at a 4.8 out of 10, making the Envoy's Greathorn overall about an average weapon to use when becoming the Elden Lord. Now, some of the big strengths about this weapon is its ability to do mass damage at one time with the build setup that we showed at the start of the video. But as you saw throughout the video, it is very hard to be able to pull off that combo. It takes a long time to get it set up. And even when you do get it set up, time and time again, bosses are able to move away from the giant bubble that we are blading straight at them. For that reason, it is a slightly below average weapon overall, bringing it to the top of the D tier. But enough about what I think. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. How would you personally tier the Envoy's Greathorn? And have I wrong? Should it be an S tier weapon? A tier weapon is a more average? Or did I overhype it and does it belong in the broken straight sword tier? I always love hearing from you. And until next time, stay maidenless.